Good evening. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Abney and members of the House Finance Committee. I'm here tonight in strong opposition to the proposed House Bill 8310, which would require school districts and municipalities to have in place 2 school resource officers in every public school in Rhode Island beginning July 1st of this year. I'm the parent of 2 Providence Public Schools middle school students. I'm a parent representative on the Providence School Building Committee. I serve on the PTO at my children's school. I also represent their school on the Providence Schools Parent Advisory Council, on which I serve on their leadership team for the last 5 years. And I'm also a member of Parents Leading for Educational Equity PLE. You're going to hear a lot of testimony after me, and you've heard great testimony before me, and you've received lots of written comments from youth organizers, parent organizers, policy advocates, and others. I want to emphasize again to please check out that plan that the Providence Alliance for Student Safety has put together. They have some wonderful information there. I also want to echo in support of Kids Count and their support for the bill that will allow for collecting more data about school resource officers so that the next time we all come together in this space, we have more information to go on when making different decisions. I want to speak briefly tonight about a personal experience that my family had with police officers in schools and why that affects my opinion here. I want to highlight that the school climate matters for all students in a school, not just the students who happen to have the specific interaction with law enforcement officers, those who are arrested, detained, or facing direct discipline. When my youngest child was in 3rd grade, for several months, one of her classmates had continued clashes with their teacher over behavior expectations. On one particular occasion, that teacher chose to contact the police to intervene during school hours. Other 3rd grade students in her class witnessed this, and parents from all grades were alarmed at school dismissal time to see a police presence at their elementary school. Rumors were flying everywhere, and children and parents talked about how this student, an 8 or 9-year-old child, was arrested and in trouble with the police. Our other students in the classroom became fearful that any infraction might result in them being arrested. These are 8 and 9-year-old children. Some students and families, including my own, noted that this incident followed previous observations that while a variety of students did act out at school, just as we might expect, that white students were often not reprimanded or punished as frequently or as harshly as their peers of color, particularly by white teachers. If I may conclude briefly, now more than ever, the adults tasked with caring for our children's social, emotional, and mental health are understaffed and overwhelmed by the needs of our students. Our social workers, psychologists, school nurses, building administrators, and other school-based staff are trying to help our children through a global pandemic in an increasingly polarized society with few meaningful laws to protect them from mass shootings and other gun violence. As recent tragedies like that in Uvalde, Texas have demonstrated, having police directly on site does not keep children or teachers safe from the most horrific outcomes. More police in schools will further criminalize our children, especially students of color, and will perpetuate a culture of fear and violence instead of solving that. This committee and all of the General Assembly can support Rhode Island students to be successful and keep everyone in our schools safe, but by funding more counselors and other mental health professionals in our schools, by funding programs that create a pipeline of more trained professionals in those fields, as we know they are low, and enacting more legislation to significantly limit access to guns. I thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. It is appreciated.